DMX facing 40 years for tax fraud. I guess, I went through the article a bit, and he purposely created ways not to pay his taxes. There's one thing where you just don't pay your taxes, you pay less than you're supposed to and so forth. But then there's the Wesley Snipes shit where you purposely try to do things to avoid paying taxes and then you get caught.
Well, first of all, most rich people, that's what they do. They find loopholes, though. You see? They try to find legal loopholes so that they don't have to pay taxes. He just did it the hood way. Okay? And that's why they mad. Okay? He did it the hood way. He didn't do it the white collar corporate way. He did it in a very Yonkers fucking way. You know what I mean? And, listen, I hope he can get out of this shit because taxes are some bullshit anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole other story.
I think the thing is, though, is that people really love DMX as an artist.
Yes.
They love DMX. The people in our age range that remember how he dropped 2 #1 albums in the same year, and both of them were fire, and he was just running hip. He was bigger than Jay-Z at one point.
He was gigantic. Ginormous.
And he did it in a totally non-commercial type of way. It was authentic. It was true to himself.
And it had come after years of failure.
Right, but the decline is one of the most serious declines in hip hop history.
Yeah.
Luckily he's still alive. He still seems relatively healthy. But we saw what happened with Old Dirty Bastard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think who else was really, someone who had problems with drugs, and you kind of saw him struggling with it year after year.
Right.
Not too many people.
No.
What DMX is going through, you don't see very often.
Right.
And people still fuck with him. He could still do sold out shows all over the world. But
because he got so much, he put so much passion and so much of himself into his music that people resonate with those parts of him. You see what I'm saying? They don't necessarily resonate with, well, they do resonate with the demons that are in his head too, because we all have demons in a way. It's just some people's demons are worse than others. You know what I mean? But he laid it all out there for you in a real gangster way. And I think that's what, there's a universal thread in his shit that people just grab onto and latch onto. And you know what I mean?
Do you know DMX personally?
Yeah. I was fucking with DMX before he was on. I was
really?
Working with him. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was trying to fucking, you know what I mean? But we were still getting on ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we might have just been coming out. You know what I mean? But I knew fucking DMX for years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, before this shit. Just running around, because I was running around the same circles. We from Westchester, so we had the same battles, the same parties, and all of that type of shit. I knew him before Brand Nubian.
What was like the biggest thing that stood out in terms of your experiences with DMX? Is there any crazy stories or something like that?
Well, the biggest thing that stood out is that, it got to a point where I was like, listen, this guy is just too much on the streets right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't fully focused. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and at the time, what he was focused on was fucking K Solo. Now, you know the story about him and K Solo were locked up together in a group home or some shit like that, and supposedly K Solo stole Spellbound from DMX.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought...
No.
No? Okay.
K Solo stole it from DMX and then made the record first. You see what I'm saying? So I guess they was rhyming, had a battle in a group home or whatever the case may be. X supposedly does the Spellbound. You know what I mean? But then Homeboy had got out, hooked up with EPMD and got on before and ended up using that and came out with the shit. Now, I heard DMX's Spellbound, DMX's Spellbound. And I'm going to tell you, it murdered K Solo's Spellbound to the point where I was like, oh, I could tell you, yeah, you probably really did make this shit up. You know what I mean? And he was tight, but here's the thing. By the time I got with him, Spellbound was years old already. Like it was like one of those things like, let it go. You know what I mean? Listen, you're a dope rapper, but you're going to have to leave the spelling shit alone, too, because he also still wanted to spell a little. I was like, listen, that was kind of a gimmick. It's not going to, that's not something you could keep doing. He beat you to the punch. Just let it go. Nah, fuck that. And even on his first song, that nigga K Solo can suck my dick. You see? That's what that was about. I was like, damn, he still didn't let it go. This motherfucker came out on his first single and still had to say something about K Solo.
It took like Juan Dean to kind of step in.
Right.
And essentially go around to the drug dealers and say, you're not going to keep selling to them.
Right.
See, I wasn't in a position to do some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. I hope he gets back on his feet and continues to make dope music, man.
Me too, man.
He could have been the next Tupac, easy.
I mean, that's what everybody was looking at him, as in a way, even as an actor. Look how many fucking movies he did,
right.
Like, yeah.
Crazy.